doing, like Dr. George Jacobs said, you need to get out in public. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen, because this is what happens with people that go from comas. I was in a coma. So you have to force yourself, to not go out, like, say, basically. So you do the grocery shopping, right? Okay, yeah, say you do grocery shopping. And then you rush home. Yes, don't. Go out, take some time, sit at the coffee shop. You know what? Sitting at a coffee shop is part of my rehabilitation. It's part of my recovery. Like I did it today. Going and just having a long chat with like a complete stranger, like I did with Rav in Office Works today, is actually part. When I do stuff like this, I'm not mentally retarded. I'm actually doing what I was taught by Agnes Rappaport and Dr. Agnes Rappaport and Dr. George Jacobs. I listen to both those doctors, and this is what is really like that advice. What they told me to do, that's better than any medication. What they did, because the injuries were so bad when I was mugged after work November 30th, 2007. Those injuries were so bad. They're like, okay, you're not going to get your job back at this stage. There's no way you're going to get your job back. Because I kept saying, look, I'm just going to get my job back. It's like, you're not getting your job back at the moment. You won't get your job back. Like, your employer's not going to hire you back with these injuries. So you need to still go and do things. So go and meet people for coffee. Go to the art gallery. Go walk around the art gallery. Do things. You have to be in public. You have to be in the city. You need people to be walking past you. You need to have people coming in and go. You've got to be in a busy environment. Otherwise, it's going to cause problems. So me being in the city, I tell you what, Bernardo Santos actually really helped the other night when we went to the Palms. Thank you. You have to do this. These are things that, we're actually, and that's where my partner Giovanni did, that is where he is telling the truth. But like I keep saying, you're not a carer, Gio, you're my partner, and you're helping your partner get through an injury. This is where I got upset with him. He goes, yes, but I was doing this for you. I'm like, yes, but you are my partner. I mean, it does make me feel a bit, you say, it's like, you are my partner. So these injuries, so doing this and you could actually go to Dr. George Jacobs and subpoena him for a corner and be like, yes, that's right, that's part of Justin's recovery. Agnes Rappaport, that's right, that's part of Justin's recovery. This stuff worked. I knew what this worked. No medication, no nothing, this worked. You've got like, you're having a bad hypervigilance day, you need to be out. Okay, you're having a bad day, get out until your body, go walk around the art gallery. Like, the living home environment worked. Like what I was told to do within my living home environment inside and create these different rooms. So it worked. Oh my God, did it work. Like, because when I first was mugged, it was so bad. And then Agnes Rappaport she's like, okay, I'll tell you what's happening, because your body won't sleep. And that's what happens with coma patients and so forth. I'm not going to go into heaps of details, but the problem is that your sleep is a trauma. So sleep is a huge trauma. So your body refuses to sleep. And you can't drug me up on tranquilizers to sleep, because I'll sleepwalk fucking naked. I'll end up bloody... You'll find me friggin', blocks away in the street somewhere or something. Sleepwalking. You can't keep doing that to someone that's had injuries. So basically, because I was lucky I had a large apartment and so forth. She goes, okay, get out of bed. You can't, so for example, say you have a sleep terror, right? Or you have this bad nightmare or whatever, or like, no, it's not a nightmare, it's actually, flashback. It's a flashback, but because I don't get REM sleep. So here's the thing, Dr. George Jacobs, when they do all these studies, these people are wonderful. They're really good, really good. Dr. George Jacobs is amazing. So is Agnes Rappaport. So is Professor Broom. So is Professor Bowman. See, I have got a massive big history that proved my injuries. So, my body won't go back into a REM sleep, which is what I need to recover, that's why my health's so bad at times. So my body refuses to be in REM sleep. So it's this very light sleep a lot. And what happens is with the trauma, so it you have a flashback or what it's called. It's a dream like a sleep terror they call it, or flashbacks, which is exactly what Prof Brew knows about as well. Well, they all know. Anyway, and it's like get out of bed straight away. If you're going to stay in that spot, your body's going to lay down a foundation that your bedroom's traumatic for you, and you won't go into it. It's even though you think that's silly, like I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. It's like, well, even though you think it's silly, your mind, that's what your mind's doing to you. Your mind's telling you it's trauma. It's traumatic. You don't want to go to the bed. You want to go to the bedroom. So, get up. Go to the lounge. What do you like doing? Like, you like putting your vinyls on. Go put music on. Now I get in trouble for it, like playing loud. You know, in 2017, sorry, pin that for a minute. I literally had, I've got a mental health worker. I'm like, you guys, you're not qualified. I'm sorry. I read some notes that said my cousin Christy said that he was playing loud music so the neighbours couldn't hear him because they were listening to his conversation. Some shit. I'm like, which cousin Christy fucking said that? I bet you it was Serenity. Oh, I bet you it fucking was. Because I doubt Christy Childs would be like that because we grew up listening to loud music. Christy Childs and myself wouldn't have been. Because before, when I first read it, I thought, you fucking bitch, Christy. I thought it was Christy Childs. Now I'm looking at it, because it says Christy. I'm like, so it could have been Christy Childs or Christy Serenity. There's two. Bet you fucking was that meddling little cunt on Dad's side. Anyway, I'm like, no, I put in loud music on because I've always lived in that no one cared before because it actually put my vinyls on because it is part of actually my recovery. That's why I keep saying, don't put me in a quiet environment, please. It doesn't work. Like, put me in the city. Put me in the city, like, you know, or mums, there we go. No, so I'll get up and I'll put my vinyls on. She goes, okay, you like that. Go work. She goes, you know, you love your studies. You loved your art. And your studies, go work on art. So here's the beauty of the way the apartment was set. The spare room was set up, corner was the office. So the corner was the office so I could sit down and do what I needed to do. But over the other side was all the art, easel and paints and everything was set up and I didn't have to take it down. So it didn't mean I didn't have to set it up and take it down, set up and take it down, which defeats the purpose. It meant it could sit up all the time, which means I could get up, walk into another room and start painting. I had the space to do it and that's exactly what was needed. So we created my living home environment as actually my rehabilitation and that's what worked. This living home environment. Then it was like, okay, you need to get up and be around people. So just get up and sit in a coffee shop. Like, I initially have years ago, oh, we just sit in a coffee shop all day. It's like, that's part of actually my rehabilitation. So in Rushco's Bay, I used to sit in Rushco's Bay Park, in the cafe there, every morning. Until after I was lied about in October 2015, and I'm sitting there and Brett Aikenhead was waiting for me with his friend Spencer and Spencer's sister started harassing me and they stopped. That's why the damage started because of what Brett and his friends were doing. I told Newtown Police. I told Giovanni. I said, Giovanni, I walked out my front door. This is what happened. He goes, who are they? I said, I don't know. These people to do with these abos to do with Brett Aikenhead. I rang Joe. I said, I'm sitting there, like, you know, part of my recovery. He goes, because I was shaken up. So this is where I'll stick up for Gio because, you know, here I am. I screwed around with this deadbeat junkie who I don't know, and my partner was like, "This is bullshit. Okay, this can't happen." So I'll stick up for Gio. I will always stick up for Gio when he was done the right thing. I'm not gonna stick up for the little fucking pieces of shit, free prostitutes or anything like that I had. Giovanni knew exactly what that would do. Giovanni Consalvo knew exactly because I rang him straight away. I was shaking, and I'm like, because they just broke my rehabilitation. Me walking out of my apartment, going across the road and sitting at a cafe, that was part of my rehabilitation. That prevented anxiety, PTSD, hypervigilance, and trauma. And then Brett created trauma, being a little cunt because he's an entitled Aboriginal. When will Australians deal with our problematic Aboriginals? I'm not Abo. Okay, I don't give a shit. But I've watched in my lifetime how we pander to the Aboriginals, and it's fucking bullshit. Enough's enough. Okay? Enough's enough. We just keep giving them everything. that arsehole, he actually, so I'm sitting there and they came around the corner and started harassing me. And I rang Joe. I was like, my routine just got broken. Like, I had this morning routine. I was like, my routine just got broken. And then they were doing it every day, every day. So what happened was part of my rehabilitation was taken away. The coffee shop there was taken away, and I kept getting harassed. And by the time it kept going on to, into 2016 with Brett Aikenhead's friend Peter Fry, I was like, that's it. That's why this started. I was like, Giovanni, I told him, I said, oh, I'm going to fucking get these little cunts. I'm going to fucking get them. Anybody remotely affiliated with Brett Aikenhead's in my sight to fucking get, if I've got to try and entrap them doing something criminal like I was trying to do with fucking Peter Fry, I'm going to get the cunts. Yeah. Anyway, so I had everything set. That's why there was such good recovery. That's why family members saw me out and thought, no, everything's fine. That's why things were so perfect. That's why I was over in New York. Even I'm in New York in 2013. My partner rings me. Like, yeah, right. He did a lot of bad stuff then, but anyway, who cares? Stop lying about me and I'll be happy. So I'm in New York, and he goes, I say, how is everything? Like back in America. It's not perfect, so tranquil. New York's so tranquil. And he goes, it's not what people say about New York. Right? I'm like, the cities are so relaxing for me. And New York's like my second home. It's just absolutely perfect. And then Mexico City is like organized chaos, which just works for me because it's so busy and it just organized chaos. And it's like, yeah. Like I literally rang Giovanni up and said, oh, I'm not coming back. He goes, you're going for immigration at the moment. You can be like, so I was literally going for immigration since 2011 and submitted my application in 2012. And this is February, March 2013. And I'm in New York and then Mexico City, and I'm kept ringing up going, I've changed my flight. And then Jerry's like, Justin, get back here. You got this going on, you've got immigration going on. I was like, I'll leave. I loved it because it was just being in Mexico in Coyoacan and like the city, and it just is 24 hours, like New York's 24 hours, and suits me with my PTSD. It just worked so well. City doesn't. It's not 24 hours. It feels like suburban country town that actually creates PTSD for me. Like I said, I would only move to Tamworth. I don't want an environment like Tamworth. Like I can't seem to get on in Sydney. Being back here, I need the 24-hour city. It works. I can't be in suburban country town. It just is going to create PTSD. And that's it. And you're not going to say, oh, but if we work for the trauma. I don't have trauma to suburban country town. I enjoyed when I briefly lived in Tamworth for 6 years. I don't have trauma. It's just what works with fixing PTSD. And I have lived in the city most of my life, but it's what works. So why try to change something that works? It works, and I'm happy being in the city. Like I was going to be happy living in Atlantic City, 37 South Iowa Avenue, Atlantic City, across the road from the Tropicana Casino. I was looking at that apartment and I was like, okay. Like I kept looking at it going, everything works inside. It's almost, it's large. It feels like larger than Rushmore Bay, but it's got everything I need to work for me. It's walking distance to the beach. It's across the road from 24-hour supermarkets, everything. It's always got people going. No, it worked. I kept looking at it and going, okay, when I saw the condo in Connecticut, I'll purchase 37 South Iowa Avenue, Atlantic City, and it would be perfect. Because it just worked. Like I kept looking, I was like, I couldn't believe my luck. Because when I was first looking, I thought, I can't find anything that suits what I need. So I'm like, I'll just buy the condo, like Norwich, Connecticut, and just, keep looking around. And when this one came on the market, I saw it, I was like, oh, I can't believe my luck. This large, two king-size bedrooms, 2 full-size bathrooms, a separate living room, a separate dining room, a galley kitchen, but large galley kitchen, not small, and massive, huge bay windows. Like, I'm talking ceiling two floor windows. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna, like, it's what you need for mental health. You know, especially with PTSD. I was like, oh my God, like, I was just looking at this, and the real estate, not Stephanie, I think her name was O'Grady, funny enough. Like the priest I when I was younger. I think it was Stephanie O'Grady, not her, but other real estates I spoke to. She was nice. I kept communicating with this real estate agent there as well. But no one said, what was it about it? Oh, but you know, the windows overlook the casino. You're just gonna, like, there's no view. It's the casino. I'm like, that's fine. Because that's fine for me. I know me and I know what's going to help. And I don't care if I open my window and smack bang right there is the Tropicana Casino, because it is. And then to the left, you've got a little sliver of the beach. But smack bang right there is like looking out onto a nightclub all night. But it worked for me. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I couldn't believe it. The only downside was, but I actually spoke about this as well, about putting a washing machine in the kitchen, if that was okay. Each floor had, so I think it was like two apartments each floor. So there was a laundry room for like for two, each two apartments had a laundry room. So you shared the laundry room with another apartment. Basically, that was the only thing. I thought, okay, but that's fine, and you can put your own washing machine in there as well. That was the, that, I thought, okay, that's fine. That was the only thing. So the laundry was outside of it, but I was like, but it was on the same floor. So you sort of walked down the lawn. There was a laundry room, like just like where your front door is in the apartment. The laundry room was there, and you shared it with the only other person on there. So it wasn't like, you got all these strangers in this big laundry room type thing. So, but it really worked. Anyway, that didn't happen. So now I've got to try and figure out something. There are major injuries that I had, but I worked through them. And when this happens, like what's happened in the last year, or the last 3 years, or the last 11 years since 2015, all you're doing is creating more health conditions and injuries where I'm not going to have a life. It's like life was already hard enough to live. So why are you trying to make it harder? And the worst part of this is because I don't fall into what some disability workers want me to fall into. So therefore, I felt not just defamed in the last 11 years since 2015, discriminated against. It's like, but I have major injuries. it's heavily documented by, professors. It's heavily documented by Professor well, not Professor before, where you've got, Professor Brew, yes, but even Professor Bowman, Malcolm Bowman. Malcolm Bowman's one of the first professors, neuro doctors that was involved. So it was Malcolm Bowman first. Then it was other teams and so forth. There's a lot of documented, so they know what they're talking about, and so do I. And what all this interference has done in the last 11 years since 2015 is just damaging. It's like, I know what I'm talking about, they know what they're talking about, and it worked before 2015. So obviously what's been done since 2015 is not working. And that's the thing, everything that's been done since 2015 isn't working. So stop doing what you're doing, because it's not working, it's hindering, it's making things worse. And go back to what worked. Before October 2015 worked. So go back to what was working and stop doing what's causing me damage.